Switch sides, we have the bans look a little bit differently. Jace on the one side, and Galio actually holding up the mantle of the blue side ban here, as Xayah continues to be dropped out from Longzhu Gaming. They had first picked up the first one as a sort of denial, and now they're unwilling to give it away. Janna going to be added to that pool once again, and one final ban to come through from Longzhu before first pick.
The Janna ban makes so much sense because either they'll be taking Lulu at first pick if it's available, or they can return to the Sejuani. They basically force a ban, force the hand of Longzhu, and they can just take the Sejuani that so far has looked very impressive from Ambition.
Nobody's been able to punish it early on, and it's been such a big part of the initiation for this team. Ambition playing very well so far, doing a lot for the team. But Cuzz on the Jarvan might go right back to it. It just has not had that effectiveness.
And you can see the priority in getting maybe a comfortable mid laner in. Of course, we know the Malzahar is still up. That was so scary before, but I feel like Taliyah can do reasonably well in the matchup. Taliyah going to be grabbed up for BDD. True comfort for him with his Galio off the table. Jarvan, I think, still likely to be an early pickup here for either Cuzz or Con.
Ultra comfort for Cuzz as well. If he does go with the Gragas, they're cycling through options here. Certainly a sort of comp that might be put together to be a very high priority on the Varus, with only the Xayah and the Kalista off the board.
Yeah, Ruler definitely,
in a row. Yep.
Ruler definitely has performed extremely well on this Tristana. And I'm curious too, you know, whoa, actually,
yeah,
they're gonna go right back to.
If it's not broken, don't fix it. Of course, the Taliyah's gone. Crown can't play the same champion, but Samsung Galaxy only adapting when the champions are banned away from them more often than not. It's like, look, this composition is working. We are out team fighting, and Ambition on Sejuani is making the early game work. There's nothing wrong with this.
This time around, though, as you talked about, you know, Longzhu, they can have a lot higher pressure here. They can draft for a lot more power, a lot more of that tempo control. Taliyah here has been huge for BDD. We mentioned how big of an impact Crown had in the last game, but BDD during the regular season was a monster with it.
And I love the point you make there, Kobe, because it felt like the Taliyah was actually the thing that allowed them to straddle the line between, hey, we're going to be really powerful in the late game fights with the Sejuani and the Taric, but also they had the double roams of the Taliyah and the Shen. Having both those things meant that Longzhu really had no time to act. So not having that here, Samsung needs to find an early game pressure point somewhere to at least stop Longzhu from just playing the standard Longzhu style at least one game in this best of 5.
See what they can fix for themselves. Of course, we saw the adaptation of Gragas over Jarvan, a bit more reliable engagement. Now that Jarvan's gone, of course, as well. There's still more to be played that Con could bring out, but they obviously know with the counter pick available for the red side for a good matchup for Con, they're trying to get rid of the scariest options.
And what it means also is it's putting Cuzz on comfort. Jarvan is away from comfort for him. They want to use the last pick as a counter pick, at least on paper, playing around with the Trundle. They're just going to lock in Trundle. I guess it could be a flex. Gorilla has played it on support, but not in Korea. We have not in 2017 had the Trundle support.
But Trundle is good into Taric, melee versus melee matchups. Sure, he's not probably a sense user. Maybe he does the Bond of Stone run. That's, of course, a possibility, but we're going to know Longzhu not look to the item. So Lissandra going to come out in the mid lane for Crown.
It's an old favorite. He was a big Lissandra player years ago. We have had no Lissandra outside of Cuzz once or twice.
And it, again, answers that question we had before. This hard engage. You know, utilizing Taric effectively requires that you have multiple forms of this super hard engage to ensure you get this team fight. Now they've got Lissandra who can also go in with the Shen, with the Sejuani. This is, again, Samsung with a very similar strategy and kind of expecting the evolution, the adaptation of Longzhu to take away the Taliyah, yet having the answer prepared.
It does mean more playmaking here on Longzhu. Of course, Prey on his comfort. Varus can start fights, BDD the same, Cuzz on the Gragas, as well as Gorilla's Rakan. So Longzhu can turn up the pace here in a matchup where it feels like they've been out-tempoed by Samsung Galaxy.
Now Lissandra, let's think about it, fell out of the meta because the effective range against most champions could really be punished, would often look for wave clear and be wave cleared on and harassed. In this matchup, Taliyah will have early push power, but Lissandra has the teleport, has very instant zone control, either with the offensive stun or just going for the self-ult, which in the late game will be very common. So trying to match fire with fire, it still should be front foot for the Taliyah in the early game though, and the early game to me is the breaking point. If this early game goes super duper even, it's looking like Longzhu, even with the Taliyah, may find a brick wall.
There's so many interesting things here. With, Lissandra ultimate, she could use it on herself to buy time for a Taric ultimate to come down. If they could sync up those timers really well, that could be a good combo. But on the other side, there's a lot more control here for Longzhu this time around, with the ability to move champions around. With Gragas and Taliyah, there's a lot of displacement. So the options are definitely there, and Longzhu could kind of craft a better team fight for themselves.
Absolutely. 9 champions have hard crowd control in these competitions right now. It's going to be fun watching to see who can do what. And this might be the last time we see Summoner's Rift on stream here today. The blue squad, Samsung Galaxy, in their home colors this time around. The unexpected 2-0 start against the Korean champions in Longzhu Gaming. But Ambition has had one of the series of his life right now. Great early gank pressure, good kills off in the mid lane. Crown bringing out his Lissandra now as well. Add a bit more spice.
And all the eyes are looking at Longzhu now. What will they show with their backs against the walls? On the precipice of being eliminated here, so surprisingly so early. Again, as you mentioned, Prey and Gorilla do have crowd control. They have initiation in their hands. These are the veteran players. The veteran players need to be drawn on in moments like these.
Biggest power from that crowd control will especially be at level 6, where they can turn things on instantly, and the Cosmic Radiance, the exact zoning, the exact team fighting, the Shen reaction may not be as valuable as will be as the game goes on. So I'm looking to Longzhu to really focus what they can make happen around level 6. There's no inevitability about this game as it goes on.
Minions have spawned.
See, Samsung Galaxy going to look for cheeky movement in the bottom brush for now. See if they don't find anyone here for themselves, as looks like Ambition may very well start at his own blue buff. Pretty easy for Sejuani to do so. That will indeed be the start, it looks like, here for Ambition. Prey, Gorilla also going to be in a similar boat, going to lane at the very start, as Khan's Trundle, or maybe BDD's Taliyah, going to leash for Cuzz on the Gragas. He's starting Raptors already, so here comes the attempt. 2v2 in the bot lane, and no attempt to be had. A little bit of poke damage out. Stun's going to land. A couple of love taps at a CoreJJ.
Flexibility to start at the advanced brush, because Sejuani, their single target ability to take camps, can equally happy start blue or red side. Does give the information to Longzhu, though. That's most likely a top side start for Ambition.
That early wave clear for Crown, 6-3 in farm. Some of this, I think, being that BDD had spent a little bit of time leashing, but either way, he's going to be okay for himself. And there's level 2, the attempted poke coming around, and now CoreJJ can track the jungle pathing of Cuzz. He will walk by this ward shortly.
Yeah, I love the bottom lane pushing up here, getting that deep ward. Even if they just see it move and just see a little bit of information on where Cuzz is, just buy some time. Ooh, Ruler walks forward to dodge the CC from Gorilla.
That was pretty crucial because he wasn't level 2 yet, so no rock jump to come through. That could have been a small window for Longzhu to use. Couldn't quite make it happen, though. Khan, you can see, being pushed around a bit early on, using his one and only potion. And CuVee out trading again, gets another grasp trigger off.
A lot of fans would have been surprised. The game plan largely today was for space control champions, tanks, or CC-wise, and Ruler really focused on with a lot of these drafts, because Prey has had the advantage over Ruler at Worlds 2017. It's been a poor tournament for Ruler after an excellent season where he was a picture of consistency and ambition. That feels good.
Yeah, he
Down
gets
level,
the heal
though.
off it as well.
Gets the stun. Here comes Crown. Cuzz gonna have to flash against the wall to get away. Looks like Body Slam wasn't quite ready for him.
Bottom lane control, bottom half of the map control here early on for Samsung Galaxy. See if they can actually translate this into some extra advantages, into some gold values.
Really possible right now. Currently, the gold is in the favor of Longzhu, the tune of 200, although it doesn't mean a ton. Khan currently the big leader here in this one, 20-13 in that top lane, but part of that is because he's pushed. Gets level 4, goes down to put a ward down, drop the Scryer's Bloom as well, and help track to see what Ambition could be up to. He wants to keep his pressure going. Cuzz not losing a beat. Flash down, but still able to grab the Scuttle Crab.
Well, CS lead opening up for BD. I imagine that will continue, as, like I mentioned, in the end of picks and bans. Does take a few levels and items before Taliyah can really match the wave clear tempo there that Taliyah Q is able to create. That's his top side, but ganking a Shen is optimistic.
It is right now. CoreJJ again getting some deep wards across. Constantly these players trying to make sure they can track what the opposing junglers are up to when they're in Fog of War. That's when you're most afraid. And of course, all these camps right now on cooldown waiting to respawn, so nothing to be afraid of just yet.
Very curious as well to see how Crown plays this lane with the teleport, because usually we'll see Lissandra, spam spells early on, try and wave clear, push out the waves very quickly, hope to get those backs off, but sometimes she'll be contested in these waves and have to use the teleport to get back to lane. Currently, though, Crown was able to get a pretty decent amount of space. Ah, there goes the teleport. So the early game teleport is forced out due to the mana issues. Ambition as well, gonna go head-to-head with Cuzz here.
Flashless Gragas, bit of fight on the top side. CuVee gonna immune some of the damage. Nice Spirit's Refuge, keep himself okay on that one. Doesn't get the attacks off. Now a stun on to Phreak. Quick shield coming out to buy some time, but still lower health on this Varus. Samsung Galaxy doing quite well on this 2-on-2, and Frey and Gorilla are lauded by almost everyone as maybe the best bot lane in League of Legends. I would say almost inarguably the best bot lane in South Korea, and right now CoreJJ and Ruler are measuring up to them so well, doing beautifully in this 2-on-2.
In the 2 versus 2 and in the team fight, so critically in this series, they've performed extremely well. We'll have to see if Gorilla's able to get any roams off, or if the Rakan will have those huge initiations that we've seen from teams like SKT that can change the entire face of the game.
My focus is on the tug-of-war for vision around mid-side, because those double control wards, if Longzhu can ever get those, especially bot side, makes those turret dives bot side, or at least ganks onto the duo lane so much more reliable. So far, Samsung do control the bot side of the map.
Crown's on a ward right now, and a controller for BDD is going to get rid of this trinket for himself. He actually can track Crown pretty reliably with his own trinket, but here comes the first attempted invade. Again, these ultimates start to become available. Crown has his, and Ambition going to try to take away this. Gets it. Nicely done. The Gromp is his. Now a nice knock up. Nice rocket jump, though. Ruler, again, timing it well. It's not terribly hard to do as long as you're paying attention, but still important that he landed this one. A bit lower health, but of course they know there's the re-engage possibility. CoreJJ with the shield and the heal, and Ruler was fine.
The war continues here. Action hasn't necessarily been as lethal as it was in the previous games. We've hit on a couple of times how important mid lane priority is for both of these champions. Crown does not want to be following second because he did use his teleport, like you mentioned, Kobe, just to try to pressure in the mid lane. Ambition is playing so much on the front foot this series. Whatever folks who watch from Worlds would not have suggested it, as these intangibles, his ability to just suddenly step up seemingly out of nowhere, that really is why Ambition is highly regarded by analysts, because he has those weird intangibles that make him a super good player.
Again, the harass still coming through in this bot lane. You're seeing +2 currently, although that'll be answered easily enough by Prey. Should be 60 or so apiece. Farm-wise, these bot lanes are equally, so you can't give too much of a lead either way. Cuzz waiting around the wings, reveals for a control ward, and then going to go for his second recall of the game.
Are we back and forth?
Prey pops barrier. He is so afraid of going down. 300 health left on him. Then the re-engage was CoreJJ. Not going to be had. Here comes a rock jump forward, though. Ruler going to burn his escape tools. Here comes Shen, though, back into the fight. It's going to be a 3v3 as Gorilla forced to run away, and looks like a pillar has stopped the Shen ulti.
Yeah, just the shield enough to scare them off there. Even though Khan is able to interrupt it on the top side, Ambition now has gotten off a base and is back out on the field. Level 6 available.
He's going to look for this one, Cuzz out of mana on this. He's got to look for a way out as BDD look to rejoin. Won't quite cut up CoreJJ, but the damage output might be enough. Couple more shots to do him in. One more auto might be lethal. The heal comes in, and the re-engage for Crown puts him away. Keep his teammates alive. Cuzz dangerously low, smites for health. Here comes the backline axis. There's Ambition now on the wrong side of this battle, finding a bit more. They're running back towards the team. The blue buff still whittling away, but looks like blue will be secured by Samsung Galaxy.
They're able to fight their way out and take the blue buff prize in the end, even without the Stand United having been burned earlier. Samsung survived.
A beautiful passage of play that was bloodless, but still advantage Samsung. Picking up the blue buff, they were first to contest. So close to the kill in mid lane as the heal charge kept CoreJJ alive. Crown was second to get there, understandably, still no teleport, but his support not going down means no instant gold lead to Longzhu.
BDD wish he had a little bit more mana, a little bit more juice in the tank, but such a valuable resource early on, and nothing left.
Now we reset back on the game. Equal gold, pretty much equal experience across the lines. Levels, one small lead for Ambition, currently 6 as Cuzz is not, but it shouldn't take too long. And this guy on your screen right here, this Sejuani, 3 games in a row. It is just worth repeating time and again how much better he has been in the knockout stage, not being picked off, getting the ganks up successfully, night and day.
And look, it's so hard to explain why Ambition is highly regarded, why I respect him as the best jungler in this tournament based on the top 20 rankings, because he can have passages of play, as the 0 kill involvements in the first 15 minutes shows, for long stretches that make you go like, wait, why is this guy great? He's not the explosive jungler that Peanut was at Worlds last year, for example. But his ability to really be smart in the mid to late game wasn't a factor in the group stage, where early game he was falling away. But he can also step up, read his enemy jungler with a couple of days to prep, actually have a system in place to shut down what has been so good for Longzhu.
And he's a player who's almost been replaced as well. The spring split at the beginning of this year, Samsung Galaxy signed Haru. And Haru played about 3 times as many games as Ambition did throughout the spring split, and Samsung Galaxy did pretty well for themselves. I think a 3rd or 4th place finish there in the LCK. And then in summer it changed, and Ambition was getting the starts more again. He was actually being much more successful as a player, getting the starts here at Worlds as well, but has regained his composure very clearly this split. But again, a player who was almost replaced, doing so well at Worlds now. And the fight continues in the bot lane, the ulti coming across, and won't be too much there, as it's going to be a dissuasion of damage. Longzhu forced to run away, but no summoners down.
Yeah, even though Cuzz is there, when the Taric ultimate comes down, they don't want to go for any more trades. Ambition is in the river, always mirroring here, and he's ready to pounce.
Advantage for Longzhu that Ornn has continued to farm up. He is still a win condition in the 4-1 later as the game goes on, and no proactive Stand Uniteds to punish them so far.
They're very ready, and that's why Longzhu are giving them room to work with here, setting up all this vision because they have this advantage. Stand United is available, the teleport also available, and that's why Cuzz is just waiting for a counter gank.
Not one to be had just yet. 600 gold lead though, Samsung Galaxy starting to grow their advantages across these roles. Cuzz gonna face second to Ambition. Suddenly it's gonna be 4 versus 1, and there's simply no way out. Explosive cast buys a second, but it doesn't matter. First blood for Crown.
Really nice proactive ultimate usage there from CuVee. Can just go back to the top side as well and not lose his turret. Wasn't sure about the damage output, but they had just enough as Lissandra came in.
League of Legends, you always have to watch the cooldowns though. It's a bit of a seesaw here because now Longzhu have a Taliyah ultimate and a top lane teleport that they could use. And Samsung are left with just the teleport here from Crown.
Oh, wow! Crown, of course, ulti down for the roam over, has to get pushed out of the lane, and maybe BDD finds something for Longzhu.
The ward did see Ambition go over the back of the Dragon Pit, so Longzhu know that he's there, and they're kind of just walking over leisurely.
He's seen now, actually. He's on a trinket now. BDD roams down, says, you get off that mountain, Drake.
Yeah, they saw him go into the Dragon Pit. They knew he was in there, and because he was able to push Crown out of the mid lane, BDD can just walk over at his leisure after he took care of the minions.
And he also draws the teleport out, so another thing that is relieved pressure-wise from Longzhu is the ability for Crown to instantly join a fight bot side. Little wins that you get from pressure and turn into bigger things, but for now at least, all gold lead to Samsung.
The only way you can use little leads of cooldowns is actually using the disparity right now. As you mentioned, Samsung Galaxy losing all 3 of their globals for now. Longzhu have both of theirs, meaning the Taliyah ultimate and the Khan teleport. But again, that has to be used in the next 3 minutes or it doesn't mean anything.
And it is difficult because look at all the vision that Samsung laid down. You know, all this priority that Longzhu let them have because of the Shen ultimate doesn't matter. Because in the end, it's Ambition waiting in the brush to ambush Cuzz, and they get the easy first blood.
At time, the 2 control wards were top side, so they were set up there for a turret dive top side, but not the sort of defensive vision bot side to actually see Ambition coming. In a long time.
For a year.
16. Understandable, as I said, I believe 1 game from Kuzan on Lissandra from Jin Air, but otherwise certainly not a big pick in the meta after the last round of nerfs.
Always fun to see what kind of innovations have been put into builds over the course of time. Proto Belt, not really that rare on Lissandra builds I can remember. And of course, cooldown boots pretty common as well. You expect to see Zhonya's Hourglass somewhere in that build, and it comes through afterwards. A blue buff to BDD, going to be pretty easily secured. So he can keep his pressure going. Another game, obviously, full of Mercury treads when you've got Lissandra, Shen, Sejuani, Taric. Those are all great recipients of tenacity.
Lissandra, double duty from the Protobot in lane, can just use it to fast push 1 wave that previously would take multiple rounds of Q, but also is part of a burst pattern with her ultimate offensively. So it does mean that she can have lane control 1 side of every, say, 3 minion waves. That would be much more difficult for her otherwise.
I also love Lissandra as a champion simply because while she does have, invulnerabilities that she can use, she doesn't have a large health pool with this, and she's very vulnerable to being burst down within crowd control, like before you can get your ultimate off, especially if you don't have good supporting casts to help you out.
Phreak gonna adapt his build a little bit. Wits End first, of course, again, respecting all the magic damage first available. Crown being the most notable version of that on the Lissandra. Wants to give that one away. Also an early Ninja Tabby to keep himself alive through the same boat. So it looks like both players kind of gearing up for scaling builds, staying alive through roams and ganks. But look at this, the attempt of pressure at the bot side as we saw Crown move down. Teleportless doesn't matter. BDD has yet to leave his lane. Now level 11 on the Taliyah. And really going equal in farm. Crown is just simply doing better this game than BDD, despite being on a champion we haven't seen him play in a year, and BDD being on his most comfortable.
A good read on the situation. Crown obviously had this in the pocket. Previously, they were taking away the Taliyah, banned away as well one game this series. Now just something he cooked up over the passage of time. It's one of those things where as the meta evolves, you remember, hey, actually, this could be a decent situation. It's not just, hey, Lissandra counters Taliyah. Certainly not true, but the way they're using it fits the game plan. In the late game, big criticism for Lissandra is 1 CC and that's all she provides. When there's 3 others, Clean's not going to be a factor there.
Adaptation is so incredibly important here on the world stage. We already saw, innovation take effect.
Not going to do some of this one, but they could get some more of the damage on this as the ulti comes across. They're all invulnerable. Gorilla stays alive, but Phreak not going to be as likely, maybe. Barrier pop staying alive a bit longer as it re-engages here. Khan's teleport there as well, and Crown, again, first to the scene. BDD going to walk back to mid doing nothing.
Yeah, he's going to walk through wards here, and all of that, all of Samsung throwing everything down on the bottom lane should be answered pretty easily, and the defense right now, there should be no turrets going down. The big difference though, Shen obviously gets 2 globals because he has his own teleport, and with CuVee recalling and heading right back to top lane, Khan now will be left without a way to join the next fight.
And we talked a couple minutes ago as, hey, BDD still has ult up. We'll wait for his next bracket to play while cooldowns are down. Those cooldowns are back up. That's why we see a second phase check here. Still no momentum or movement for there to be a Weaver's Wall usage. Nice disengaged cask from Cuzz as well.
Samsung, they get the flash and barrier out of Prey, the teleport out of Khan, plus control of the bottom side. So in the end, they do get an objective, not the first turret, but they do get the mounting trade.
They were 5-1 on Summoners on that fight. We watched the top lane battle continue to make it 6-1. Of course, Khan uses teleport as well. So huge advantage, Mountain Drake on the backside as well. And Samsung Galaxy, every game starting to look more and more the same. They are in control from almost start to finish. And we've yet to see Longzhu be really proactive enough outside of a couple of lane kills from BDD in the first game as Khan using his ultimate to stay alive a little bit longer. Might have the damage though, but Spirit's going to buy some time. Killer comes in for a bit more. A few more autos to do it, the flash and chase! And that could be exactly what Longzhu needed. Khan with the solo kill.
Will Ambition be able to chase him down? There's a ward here in the Tri-Bush, so the answer is no, but that is the Khan that people wanted to see on the world stage.
It took 3 games of this series, finally gets that big confidence booster of the solo kill. All of the action previously on bot side. Didn't even take a roam, was just a solo play. But that's extra information for Samsung to have to react to on the top side, and it's also the impetus for BDD and Prey to start playing bot side as well.
And with some gold starting to go back the way of Longzhu, you have to caution for Samsung, while they have so many proactive tools, they have all this global pressure, all these burst tools and crowd control. Later on, once you get to the later, longer fights of the game, it will be a bit taxed to find some extra DPS. Here we go is another look at the massive healing that you get with Trundle. The ultimate, he's able to shred resistances. It's tons of healing back on the frozen ground there as well. He's able to turn that fight around.
All of that even through Bramble Vest. Look at CuVee's items. There are no new purchases there. He had Titanic Hydra and Bramble Vest last time as well. It's not getting better for the Shen. The Khan keeps stacking up again, looking for more to do. This time gonna kill the wave behind the turret. Hope to find some more pressure. Of course, Shen can wait for that easily though.
Samsung are accepting this. They have 4 control wards bot side to continue to deny BDD, making a proactive play bot side. And once again, a re-invade onto the blue buff. Weaver's Wall continues to be held onto. Second steal here.
Easy enough for Ambition with the passive. There you go. 100 gold picked up. The blue buff once again stolen away. Samsung Galaxy. They've got a lot of pressure on this bot side. This Tristana and the rest of that squad out laning Prey and Gorilla.
Again, you know, they have to give up this territory because while Khan is able to push past the turret and he's farming between turrets and these minion waves, that just means that CuVee is free to use Stand United whenever he wants, and there's no teleport for Longzhu to answer, so effectively bottom.
Knockup is there, getting a bit lower on the Charmin. The barrier pop is going to be a re-engage back into the turret. Can they find the kills? The ulti pop for the Shen. The ultis are there, the shield, he's going to stay alive in the stun. The taunt coming across, Cuzz going to drop for the first one. And look at the Goomba stomp forward. Ruler wants a bit more. BDD's wall only buys them the time to run away. 1-0 Samsung.
As we're about to say, effectively bottom lane is Shen's domain, and Samsung are able to force the fight that they want under the turret. Even though it could have been a slightly cleaner, they do get the kill. And again, instant teleport back up to top side.
May not be clean, but it's calculated. All the vision was put down. They knew they wanted to play bot side. They're denying BDD any playmaking whatsoever. And I'm looking at this Taliyah and being reminded of a lot of the risers we've seen earlier in this tournament who are supposed to pick up a couple of items, shove, and then roam, but they were being clogged into lane, just wave clearing, watching the game be played around them. That's kind of the story with BDD's Taliyah this game. Samsung got the most out of the roams last game and have shut down the roams this game.
Fully expecting to use the Stand United here. They get engaged on by Gorilla, and then the Taric ultimate hits as they get knocked under the turret. Here, I wasn't really expecting Ruler to use the early Tristana ultimate, but it ended up not mattering too much as they just changed focus and they still got the kill, just killing the front line instead. But I don't know about the communication there. Maybe they would have rather had the kill onto Prey. Regardless, barrier came out and there was no burst.
It means this is still a Samsung Galaxy winning in the early game, finding the plays to be made across the map. Crown's Lissandra has Leandri's Torment done now as well. The Dark Seal and 2 stacks is not too bad as well. Infinity Edge not too far for Ruler. Scaling continues here. 2-0 team.
And even more critically than the kill that Samsung get down there is the turret kill. The first turret bonus that they get. You just see the flood of control wards go through Samsung's inventory after they base, after that fight. You know, all of the control wards take over, rotate up to the top side, move Ruler over there, off of his extra static Shiv and BF sword here. He's ready to control the minion waves, and Samsung move in to control this quadrant of the jungle.
While Khan may maintain his 1v1 matchup against Shen, it was after Shen had already pushed the minions all the way, so any sort of split push hijinks was going to take a lot longer to set up. More time for Samsung to get turrets very, very low, top side and mid side. Longzhu again, but this whole game in neutral. Must be so desperate to turn on the star like we know they can. If they can't on the day, it really means nothing.
Definitely the case here. The best of 5 is how you play on the day you play the match. And right now at Samsung Galaxy, much the superior squad. His mid lane out are going to fall as well. 2-0 on turrets. The Mountain Drake already there from a while ago. And the Infernal Drake spawning in 35 seconds. Longzhu's dual lane put to the top side, but Ruler with the static Shiv has plenty of wave. You can see even though he's literally alone 1v2 with the rest of his team 10 seconds away, there's no even attempt of an engage from Gorilla. They know that Trista is safe. They know Ruler's a good enough player, and he can do anything he wants.
I do think that they should reposition him maybe for this Infernal Drake, because Samsung right now are running with so much pressure. They shouldn't give up any neutral objectives. It should be very easy for them to reallocate. There we go. We see the bottom lane going back down to the bottom side. Shen will go back to the top side. And even though this time around Khan does have teleport, they've been able to eke out this lead, as well as all the controllers that we mentioned, and take control of this Infernal.
Looks like a trade though real quick. They're leaving Prey in the top lane. Now that turret was already low from all of Khan's hard work, but no one's here to help push back CuVee. But CuVee doesn't know that and doesn't want to contest for this turret, so it will be an outer turret picked off, although Samsung Galaxy almost by default do get this Infernal.
Not often a trade you'll make at 23 minutes with Baron up, but no realistic Baron pressure there from Longzhu, so we'll get the Infernal with the high value associated with that. Roam into the mid lane. Almost no turret damage on Lissandra's turret.
There's not really any pressure. Crown's held up to the matchup quite nicely, and he's gotten out of his lane several times as well to help out the squad. As they now go for Baron pressure, of course, as you mentioned, that's been spawned. About 24 minutes into the game now already. Is top scuttle going to be there easily enough? And we can see what Samsung Galaxy wants for the lane assignments now. Ruler's got the Infinity Edge power spike. He's as powerful as he needs to be. This is only green skies from here on forward for the Tristana player. Prey at least does have Rage Blade, but still no Hurricane for the triple melee. Not just yet anyway.
Lane is long. Trundle getting some damage onto the outer turret, but Shen's happy to surrender ground. Giving away an outer turret by no means is a big deal.
But who's leading? Maybe continuing mid lane taking couple hundred health as well. Maybe Longzhu can start to find the split push power. You're seeing, of course, Crown top lane uncontested himself. Gonna sacrifice some minions to that red turret. Khan hoping to push back CuVee. It's gonna be a bit close. Hasn't popped his ult yet. Can when he goes for the all-in. No stun to be had. But again, Crown getting complete alone time top lane. BDD taking the long road over as the turret's taking more and more damage. And the minions are dying with no golden experience gained at all.
BDD has continually had to give ground here. Crown just running over the map. Ambition now also invading on red side, and they might actually find each other.
You're back up though, so for now, Longzhu are still stunted. You see Prey still in mid lane. Does not have a Hurricane complete still. Went for Wit's End and the Rage Blade. Still fiercely single targets, so shoving advantage for multiple members on Samsung on the Varus.
TP advantage. Honestly, teleport seems to be just faster to use than Weaver's Wall, which BDD's only really used to keep his team alive and stop the chase. But now Khan has gotten into the mid lane and ulti coming across the trade of them. As the ability comes in only for a moment. Now they're re-engaged on Cuzz. He's going to get low, but Pop Guild stay alive a little bit longer. They want to grill and chomp down, and that is a dead Rakan. The flash forward, the taunt is in. They're going to get the next one as Prey is going to fall as well. The chase continues for Ruler, getting another, a double for the Tristana, and CuVee gets the kill on top of this one, 4 for 0.
4 clean kills here for Samsung, and that will be Baron as the reward as well. This was a multi-man flank. Ambition was coming from behind the members of Longzhu, and they immediately make the call. Teleport in, Stand United goes, and Samsung clean up.
It was a multi-step plan. They have been being able to pull off flawlessly today. They have just taken over red side control. Suddenly Ambition's behind. The kills are confirmed. BDD can only watch in horror as the team goes down, and they'll hear that blood-curdling sound of Baron dying again.
And the rope is getting shorter. The fuse burning down. This game soon to explode. 7,000 up, and you can watch this fight again. Khan cannot get enough done.
See how clogged all the members are of Longzhu compared to so many options, so much control of the top side. BDD rides in, but fight's almost always done.
Yeah, Longzhu, I mean, they make the call for Khan to come in here with the flank. He's actually the one that started out. But Samsung, they were already deep in enemy territory. As you said, Ambition was in the red quadrant, and they immediately react with the Stand United and the teleport. They were just waiting for this. It was kind of the dream for them to start out the fight this way, and they pick Longzhu apart. BDD was in the top side, nowhere to be found. Now, here come the Baroned up Samsung.
Oh, explosive cast almost button Ruler, but not quite enough. Now BDD cleansing away, just barely stays alive. Will there be a re-engage? Khan getting lower and lower on health, down a half HP to get the ulti across to buy some time. Nice re-engage from Gorilla, but Prey so low he can barely even auto-attack. And no kills to be had, and not enough meaningful damage. His mid lane will still fall, despite Longzhu's best efforts.
Happy to keep fighting as the gold values are so low for Longzhu before the items are there, even though it's a pretty cheap build onto the side of Prey. They keep forcing forward, they keep taking objectives. They're gonna happily cut to the bot side, take another turret.
No defense to be had. CuVee and Ruler gonna make these attacks land. Explosive charge to hit there, and there we go. 5-2 and turrets, the 2-0 on Drakes as the Baron buff continues to push in as mid lane also under fire. Cuzz not gonna find anything.
So many people were talking. Well, Ambition actually has got everyone after him.
He's got no flash, and there's the knockup. This could be enough to get one kill, but it would only be the second kill of the entire game because bot lane is still under fire. So though Phreak gets his first kill, the inhibitor likely to fall. 5v4, teleport flank comes in for Khan. This is the big play that Longzhu needs.
They're trying to chain together the kills here. BDD has his ultimate as well for Taliyah.
And Khan's in this mix. Can they get Ruler? Gets over the wall. He's safe for this one. CuVee might not be so lucky, but he jumps across as well. Maybe CoreJJ, the one sacrifice. He does not have flash, but to only get a single kill is not enough for Longzhu.
Again, the Baron buff here. Crown pushing on top side. They get another turret. And even though Longzhu chased down 2 kills, it is just a drop in the bucket.
Longzhu were the proactive team that always forced their enemies to trade down. They were the team that would get the vision forward and profit from the vision. But they have played this series in darkness. And Samsung Galaxy, who in many games I would watch, would never put together any forward vision, have owned the vision battle and kept Longzhu just clumped together, hoping for the best.
Good filler here from Khan. They are able to chase it down, but as you point out, on the mini-map here, you see this is in trade for an inhibitor turret due to the Baron buff on those 3 members. Tristana rapidly able to take those structures. And then again, as you know, the teleport to follow.
Shot calling from behind is very different to shot calling from ahead. From behind, we see the veteran squads like SKT and Samsung make things happen in longer games. But when you're ahead, it's very easy to call time. It's very easy to choose where the battlefield will be. They haven't been able to choose almost anything this series, Longzhu Gaming. And that's where some of the things we didn't see for the group stage, even for the LCK, is creeping in for the side of Longzhu.
We have to revisit all of the predictions here. Longzhu, so many people are already getting excited and predicting them to be able to knock over SK Telecom.
Can they win Worlds undefeated? No, it's certainly not the case anymore, of course, but you're right. That was the suspicion coming in. Longzhu, they win the LCK. Maybe they're the best team in the world. They're the pre-tournament favorites. Samsung Galaxy making them look nothing like that. The stun on the front line to follow up, not quite there, but the turret to fall.
The prediction for Longzhu to win was the one everyone made, and what we saw at Worlds, it was the right one. But this Samsung that creeps in for the big matches, that was on display against SKT after Rift Rivals, against KT Rolster, when they were the first to run Barrier Heal Ardent Sensor in Korea. They very periodically have these reads when they need to, and this is the result.
Here they go, caught outside in enemy territory.
Damage out of ambition, stuns have already been used. The ulti's on cooldown by now, down to 1,000 HP. A flash to get some of the people pushed around. Con stun up, flashing away from the Taric. The re-engage, they're gonna find CuVee. A bit of damage, he's gonna go back to safety. A triple knockup for Gorilla. Is this the fight? BDD gets one. They're gonna find a second now for number 3. Can they force Samsung out? Of course, the junglers there, but there's no major objective to take. It's only farm for Longzhu.
But Longzhu buy themselves some time, some much needed time here as they return to their base in ruins.
Will not find objectives, but the game, the series will not end here. Big seismic shove from BDD partway through this. At the start, when they were wailing away on ambition, it was looking all a bit sad. He's so damn tanky at this point. Surely nothing could happen, but these Korean teams, their fight backs can be impressive.
Not many options for Longzhu, so they've got to take this opening. They fight their way out. CuVee on the outside here on Shen actually gets very low at the start of this, and once Gorilla sees his opening, the 3-member combo there opening up the kills.
Once they did not have vision in the brush, so there wasn't really target acquisition for the carries. There was no good ult target for Crown either. That was certainly not something we'd expect given how the game has gone, but it was with an inhibitor down. It's the sort of mistake you can make and not give over control to the enemy. But at least the amount of tempo Samsung had is starting to slow down.
It might fix the mental state as well of Longzhu, who've been nothing but losing ground the entire game, hoping to build it back up and fitting for Taliyah, try to get their ground back here on this one. 9,000 gold down, though they've got a lot of work in front of them. As the darkness continues to grow across the map, Frey's Hurricane, that's an important spike for him, and he's going towards Ruin King, so he will become an incredibly efficient carry in the near future. Ruler, of course, already there on 4 major items on the Tristana.
Let's talk about how Samsung, this series, have always had their AD carry an item and a half ahead of his opposition from their bot lane focus, from the smart control ward. They had this game trivializing the roam potential from BDD. Prey greater than Ruler was one of the core tenets of a prediction for why Longzhu would win this series, but it hasn't been relevant because they've never had parity in team fights.
And so much as well due to this Shen pick. We've criticized so many teams, throughout this tournament of not utilizing the Shen pick well, not utilizing that global pressure well. But Samsung have done it so well here that they've been able to consistently invade on that blue quadrant of the jungle of Longzhu, take control, force them to give up slowly but surely small edges in that area. And now they're knocking at the door, and Con is answering.
Looking for this one, half HP Papasmithy, but how long can he stay alive? He's trying to tank up the front line. Ulti coming across from Varus. We'll find a couple of routes as the Taric ult pops as well for the invulnerability to re-engage. In comes Crown, he can't even be touched. Pops the self ult for the slow, and the first one comes in as Trundle drops the second as well as Cuzz is gone. The rocket jump forward, Ruler wants a third. They're gonna get a stun on Prey. He's to lose his life as well. Number 4 and 5 next up for the chopping block as BDD can only run away, and hope his base won't lose without him, but the rest of the team ready to push through the bot lane. The wave already pushed the inhibitor. Easy to drop. Samsung Galaxy defying expectations. 3-0 was a likely result, but not in the way you expect here. As they look to knock down BDD, he can barely wave through the Protovolt to land, the stun, the root, the ace, and there is nothing left to stop Samsung Galaxy as they take down their first opponent. They are the first in the semifinals, and who can really stop this team?
What an impressive performance. Last year's runner-up, this year coming in with so much less excitement due to the performance in summer. Some of the key members, Crown, struggling a bit, but rallying so heavily here, coming out with defined strategies, executing on different team comps, utilizing Shen so well, just so many things performing extremely well here for Samsung.
And casting Longzhu, because of their upstart nature, because of their young players who had not played a lot of games together, it always felt like, even with their impressive start to the season, when would the wheels come off? When will finally a team really suss them out? In certain series, KT was able to do that, but they won the title in unexpected fashion over SKT. They make it here on such a run of form, but Samsung did have the read. I said I had multiple points that Samsung needed to work on to be able to hold a candle to Longzhu. They were able to attack their weaknesses and also show us strengths they apparently didn't feel they needed to show in the group stage. They can keep these strategies hooked up and hold on to them. They've done it before. That makes it so hard to predict because you're like, maybe they don't have them. But the fact that they could bring them here in such a big match and win in as emphatic fashion as possible, 3-0, insane.
Yeah, really incredible stuff. And it's fun because I think the win was so multifaceted. I think their drafts were very good. You heard the analysts talk about that, especially after game one, how smart these drafts were, how well it all looked. Even some of the surprise pick like Lissandra coming in saying, yeah, you finally got your Taliyah. That's cute. We've got this one ready for him. And Crown looked infinitely the better player in that game, even though the rest of the mid lanes had gone a bit closer through the rest of the series. That Lissandra looked amazing. And then execution-wise, absolute perfection out of this squad. The 2-on-2 looks so good in the bot lane, better in team fights as well. CuVee, as you've been mentioning, has done so well to hold up to Khan and did so here as well. Big plays out of the Shen, the ultimates were beautiful as well. And honestly, a team that looked so much better on the day, results deserving of the 3-0, and now to hear more about that Samsung Galaxy sweep over the LCK champions, let's send it down to the analyst desk.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. A crushing 3-0 victory for Samsung Galaxy over, again, the only remaining one seed from a major region and perhaps the pre-tournament favorites in Longzhu. I'm just astonishing and spectacular.
Exactly, right? It's so amazing. We all want to jump in here because it's so good.
Crown wasn't kidding. They actually were holding on to their strength. Because they showed their weakness, that meant that they...
There it was. They only had strength left to show. They do it with the Lissandra pick of all things. They give over that power pick in Taliyah for BDD, and they have the answer.
It just felt like they did it with everything, right? I mean, the fact throughout this series, they're able to make every comp work. Every play felt like it was working for them. And I think that the execution, as well as the drafting, was just absurd from Samsung. Like, this is such an impressive result because not only was this the overwhelming favorite to win Worlds from both players, they just got slammed. This was not even close. This is like, if Samsung squeaked by the skin of their teeth, you'd be like, ooh, Samsung could probably win Worlds. They just 3-0'd them.
Exactly.
This was easy.
So many things needs to work for you. Again, you got to outdraft them. You got to outplay them as well multiple times to actually 3-0 an LCK champion. Game 2 was so one-sided. Game 3 was so one-sided as well. Only game 1 we really felt like, okay, this is super back and forth. Both teams can still win. Apart from that, like, Samsung were just far and away the better team.
Yeah, absolutely. Having the plan to answer for everything. Of course, step 1 was followed through on for Longzhu Gaming by choosing
more steps,
red side.
apparently.
Step 1, play perfectly.
The rest of the steps not necessarily coming together, but as we take a look at this champion select, I mean, you've got that Trundle matchup. So, you know, a winning matchup for Khan. Maybe, you know, maybe it's not as hard of a carry champion as, say, the Jax that they reached for in game 1, but there was potential there.
So you get the Trundle, and right, you have a champion that can melt the tanks, and you have a split push threat, but how linear is Trundle? Very. Compare it to Shen on Samsung's side. You utilize him in the bottom lane, as we saw in game 2, but now in combination with the Lissandra, the answer to the Taliyah, and this pick that hasn't seen the meta for so long, but she maintains such a perfect fit right now because you play mid lane, not for your CS deficit, not for crushing the other guy, but to just push roam, and answer side lanes, and perfect pick for that.
I agree, and I think, honestly, though, the Trundle was a good pick, and I think the Trundle was doing fine, but when the rest of the map loses, it's very hard as a split pusher to be able to actually take any advantage that you do have for yourself and get that going, and you have to also look at mid lane. You know, when did Taliyah ever get up to the top lane to snowball that? When did you see them executing on what their game plan was, which was very clearly get the Trundle ahead, use Taliyah to get up there, snowball this lane with Gragas, with Taliyah, you know, get this to be this dominant split pushing force. It just never happened because I think A, of the Lissandra, B, how well the bot lane is going, and the fact that Ambition was able to always it seemed like have priority in the jungle.
Exactly, like again, the main win condition for Longzhu all summer long, it's been mid lane priority from BDD, ability to go top and snowball your top lane, and while your bot lane stays safe and just plays 2v2 and never dies to ganks. But 2 games in a row now, we had mid lane priority going in favor of Crown. And that again is so important because it means BDD has no impact. The first game we had impact, Azael, as you called out, he threw the entire thing away.
And when we come back, I'm going to get into that matchup specifically, but we have the opportunity to talk to a couple different players on Samsung Galaxy. So in the wake of their upset win, let's go ahead and send it over to Shox, who has an interview with the victorious